Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.
Hello Larchmont and Mamaroneck, it's Thursday 7:30 and you're watching The Local Live. I'm Kat Galliano.
And I'm Rebecca Paganini, and we've got the latest stories from our local communities. Let's take a look at what we've got in store for you tonight.
October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's why tonight we are talking with Cancer Support Team Executive Director Gina Russo and Director of Patient Services Lucille Winton. Stay tuned to learn how we can support others in their times of need.
Find out how the community is reacting to the deer situation in the village of Mamaroneck. More details from the deer forum that took place last Friday.
Parking permits in Larchmont will go up. More details in a bit.
Want to know what stories are trending in Larchmont and Mamaroneck? Keep watching for our segment In the Media.
We didn't forget about you, sports fans. We have the LMC-TV Play of the Week.
What's popular on the internet this week? Christian Sokolay has you covered.
And happy birthday, Larchmont! Stay tuned to see the celebration of the village's 125th anniversary.
This week, Trey Magnifique is in the spotlight. Stay tuned.
And of course, we have an adorable pet of the week. Let's find this cute kitty the perfect home. Last Friday, the village of Mamaroneck held a deer and coyote population forum to discuss the options for handling their deer population. Here's what some residents of Mamaroneck and Rye had to say.
Really, the problem isn't so much that we have a deer overpopulation. We have a human overpopulation. If we didn't have houses, we have a reality to deal with, which is that we are now living with deer that are going to be here to stay. You use the words take, call, harvest. Say what it is. It's killing. It's slaughter. Those words pretty enough. We can't have room for wildlife if we keep developing every square inch of our land. So I thank you for taking this slowly, Mr. Mayor. I think that just as you did with geese, you are in a position of playing God. And you can do this and be an exemplary factor for all of Westchester. And I think that's what has to happen here, is that we have to do this slowly and right.
On that same topic, the Mamaroneck Daily Voice conducted a survey on what the village should do on behalf of the deer population. 37% of respondents said that they should pursue deer culling. 27% voted that Mamaroneck and Rye should pursue deer sterilization, and 36% said they would do nothing to control the deer population. Officials have not made a decision on how to solve this issue, but we will be following the story closely until a decision is reached.
Now, news from Monday's Larchmont Municipal Meeting. Starting next year, parking permits will increase to a 3% rate from their current value. Let's listen to Larchmont Mayor Ann McAndrews, who explains the details.
We are going to be increasing all of the permits except we are not increasing the cost for scooters or for temporary parking permits or for replacement permits. So everything else is going to go up, rounding the figures of 3%. For example, Lot 1, the annual permit fee is going to go from $675 to $695. The annual permit fee is going to go from $675 to $695. And that kind of increase goes throughout the entire the entire group of permits that we put on sale.
Trustee Lorraine Walsh added that getting parking permits will be easier with new software allowing residents to make their payments online. Remember, if you want to watch the full meeting and see more news from Larchmont, you can log on to the LMC website at www.lmc.org.
Let's turn it over to Kristen Gobiowski, who has all you need to know about popular stories in your community.
Congratulations to Mamaroneck High School coach and native Mike Chiapparelli, who not only celebrated his 400th victory this past season, but is also being inducted into the Westchester County Hall of Fame for his accomplishments as a coach. The celebration is on October 22nd at the Westchester County Center, and for the full-length article, check out The Loop. Last Sunday night at Harbor Island, over 300 people came together to witness the blood moon, a supermoon, and a lunar eclipse. Harbor Island was the perfect spot to watch with the naked eye, but there was a large screen connected to a telescope which made the sight even more spectacular. For more information, go to lmstemmalliance.org. Isn't dropping your smartphone and shattering the screen the worst? Well, if you're clumsy like me, things just got a little bit better. The popular smartphone repair chain, You Break, I Fix, has just opened on Boston Post Road in Mamaroneck. It officially opened its doors Monday, but there will be a ribbon-cutting ceremony Saturday, October 17th. If you want to know more about this company and its grand opening, go to the Mamaroneck Daily Voice. Also starting October 1st through May 14th, leaf blowers are permitted to be used again in the village of Mamaroneck, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays and between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Saturdays. There are plenty of more restrictions on when you can use your leaf blower this fall, so you will definitely want to check out the full article on the Mamaroneck Hamlet Hub. And last but not least, Furniture Share House needs help after giving away their last donated bed in stock. They are asking the community to help by donating mattresses, box springs, and adjustable bed frames. These donated items are distributed to local Westchester families and individuals in need. To find out more information, such as drop-off hours and requirements, you could read the full article on The Loop. These are the stories that have been popular in our local media. I'm Kristen Gobiowski.
Now it's time for this week's trivia question. Stay tuned because right after that, we go to our live interview with Cancer Support Team Executive Director Gina Russo and the Director of Patient Services, Lucille Winton, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we're talking with the Cancer Support Team. What to do if you have cancer and how to support someone else who does.
And as always, we'd invite you to be part of the discussion. I'll be keeping up with our Twitter account and our email. And if you've got a question or you have a comment, please feel free to contact us. The information will appear periodically at the bottom of the screen.
And you can also call in as well.
Yes, that's right. Phone call.
These days, cancer pretty much affects everyone. You have or had it, or know and love someone who does. Tonight's discussion is about support, what to do for yourself and others. Our guests are from the Cancer Support Team. We've got Gina Russo, who's the Executive Director, and Lucille Winton is the Director of Patient Services. Thank you for joining us, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
A cancer diagnosis is always a shock, no matter who you are or what you're expecting. What's the first thing you should do?
Well, I think one thing people do right away is, unfortunately, they go to Dr. Google. And they put that diagnosis in, and so much information comes up that it's sometimes unhelpful. It really actually doesn't help clarify the situation for an individual and really help them create a plan of what to do next. So while the internet is a wonderful resource, one thing that we really encourage is that people find reputable, vetted sources of information, and also connect with an organization that can help navigate them through the cancer experience. And that really is the Cancer Support Team's forte.
Getting you through it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're sitting there and the doctor tells you you have cancer. Mm-hmm. At that moment, I mean, you don't have Cancer Support Team on speed dial.
Right.
Should you have someone with you when you're there, you know, getting for a diagnosis, finding out what the testing shows?
Absolutely. If you
so
can have a family,
before you even know.
Yes, before you even know. We certainly feel that anybody who is going to receive that kind of a diagnosis, we have, over the years, we've realized that people stop hearing after they hear that word. Mm-hmm. But when they have a family member or a friend, someone there who can sit, maybe even take notes, get information, be able to ask questions, that is going to be very helpful going forward. Usually, someone who is newly diagnosed is scheduled for additional appointments and maybe additional testing. It's always a good idea to have someone with you.
Before we get further into that, is there any way or any advice you give to how to hold it together emotionally so you can be practical and think it through in those initial moments?
Well, I think knowing that you'll have several opportunities to learn about your diagnosis and ask questions is important. So if you're not able to hold it together, it's not the one time that you're going to be able to really explore what the next steps look like. Okay. But as Lucille said, I think that the concept of having somebody else there with you, another set of ears, so that if you only hear part of the information, somebody else can really relay the rest of it after the fact when you're calmer would be quite helpful.
Okay, so now let's talk about the cancer support team and the kinds of support that you offer, because you're not there at that first.
No, we're not. We're not. I wish we were, but we're not. Yeah.
When do you get involved and how?
We receive referrals from area hospitals, from visiting nurse services, from patients who call because a friend recommended. We receive referrals from community agencies that provide support services for cancer patients, other agencies, because the service we provide is unique in that we have what Gina calls a triple-pronged approach. We have nursing, social work, counseling services, and case management, which is looking for other kinds of resources. So we're looking at the physical, we're looking at the emotional, and we're looking at the financial and insurance issues as well.
But people have to call you. You're not doing outreach.
The easiest thing in the world. It's just a telephone. We're a telephone call away. The four words we never say are, "We can't help you." We always find a way to provide help and support for patients who are calling us.
So if somebody needed someone to go with them to appointments and maybe take notes or translate, medical lingo to normal English,
well, translate in two different ways.
Right.
We certainly do accompany patients. Our nurses will go to accompany patients to appointments. We also have a nurse and case managers who are Spanish speaking and who accompany our Spanish speaking patients, because that's a real challenge for someone who is just diagnosed and does not understand the language. The language of cancer is already terribly confusing, even if you're just speaking English. But if you can't understand the language, you're totally lost. So we do all of that. We do.
Go ahead, Gina.
And I don't know if this has been mentioned, but the amazing thing is it's all free. Every single thing we do is provided free of charge.
And is there a limit on how much help you can get?
No.
Not really, no. I mean, we do everything that we possibly can. We also seek out support from other organizations. We've come to know all the community organizations, national and local, that may be able to provide either financial support or emotional support. We're the only free service that I know of that has nursing service.
So I went through your website, and I'd actually like to learn more about the different services you provide. So I'm going to break them up, if that's okay.
Sure, of course.
The kinds of nursing services you provide.
We have oncology nurses who see people sometimes in the office, but most of the time in the patient's home, because many of the patients who come to us are really fatigued from the treatment, fatigued from what they've been going through, so we see them in their own homes. We don't put them through the stress of having to find a new place and a new office and come to a different place. Our nurses go
medication, or if
we will help patients we can't order medication,
right,
but we certainly help patients to find resources for medications that are cancer medications are becoming more and more expensive. And the coverage is becoming less and less thorough. So we do look for resources for patients who do not have adequate coverage for their medications. That's a case management issue and part of the financial part. But the nurses do go into the patients' homes. They explain the chemotherapies, what they may be experiencing. They bring literature about those treatments. They explain radiation if that's the treatment that's going to be given. We also do have questions for your doctor. We have questions about surgery, questions about chemotherapy, questions about radiation, questions about cancer in general. So we actually have developed a
protocol for
protocol, yeah, so that we can begin to make them feel that they're in some control of what's going on.
Do they recommend getting a second opinion?
I never say no to a second opinion. If a patient or a family member is saying, I really want to make sure, we certainly encourage that they do that. And usually the second opinion is exactly the same as the first opinion. But
for better or worse.
For better or worse, but it can be different.
Well, it sounds like a lot of the nursing dovetails with the next thing you do, which is education.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
What kinds of additional education do you provide besides someone's specific treatment or learning about that particular kind of cancer?
Well, we also provide them with general information about nutrition. We have booklets that we bring out, what to eat when you're going through treatment.
Are there things that you should eat or shouldn't eat?
Well, when you're, we suggest to people, we have a registered dietitian who is available, especially for our breast cancer patients. And
why
again,
especially?
this is all because we have a special grant. We are a free service, so many of our services are supported by grants, and we have a special grant and in fact, I encourage people to please call us, because we have a special grant for a registered dietitian to see our patients in their homes and make recommendations for them, bring literature about what would be the most reasonable, sensible kind of diet. Usually it's common sense diet. You don't want to eat French fries and things that are very high in fat and very low in nutritional value.
Well, what about, I know I'm digressing,
Yes.
but sugar being the root of all evil, allowing...
Controversial.
It is controversial?
Yeah. Some physicians will tell patients that they are not to eat any sugar. Some physicians will say that's not necessarily so. So it's really controversial. I think, again, it's balance. It's not really being extreme in any situation. I think probably it's not terribly damaging to have a little bit of sugar in your coffee or something like that. But there are oncologists who do not who will recommend to their patients that they avoid sugar.
Okay. The counseling, is that psychological counseling? I imagine it must be quite
Absolutely.
difficult.
Absolutely. The counseling is, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, okay. The counseling, we do have a social worker who has been working with us for many years, who sees patients sometimes in the office, sometimes at home, also sees family members. Also, we have many young people who have children, and there's always big issues about how do I tell the children. And it's always age-appropriate information, but our social worker, Judy Delahanty, is very skilled.
So you have people who can help guide you how to have the discussion with the family.
Absolutely.
And what to tell them and when.
Absolutely.
And it goes back to that question you asked earlier about that initial moment when you get the diagnosis. I think so many people immediately want to learn about the actual disease and the treatment protocol, but then just as quickly your brain goes to, how do I tell my children? How do I tell my spouse? Do I tell my employer? What does this mean for all aspects of my life? So I think we really make sure that we address the medical, but also the psychosocial.
The first question is always, the first thing is always listening. Mm-hmm. We listen to that person's story, and they tell us what's the most important thing, and we attack that first, and then we go on to a whole plan. So it may be that the first thing is getting that person in to see the social worker. It may be getting the case manager out so we can figure out what's going on with insurance. It may be getting the nurse out for information.
What is advocacy that you do?
Oh boy,
I mean, is that going out and yelling at the insurance companies, or?
It might be. Advocacy is is figuring out what the biggest issues are, what is interfering with this person's ability to get what they need, and trying to solve that problem first. After we solve that problem, which sometimes is just that their insurance is an issue, sometimes it's that they don't have income because they can't go to work.
Well, that was actually the next piece.
Right. And we work on that also. I mean, a lot of these things happen simultaneously. Right. You may have a case manager going out initially, and then a nurse is added, and then a social worker is added. So it's an absolute team approach to managing, helping patients to get through this, to navigate. We navigate with them through their journey.
Are you essentially providing a support system for those who may not otherwise have it, or is this a support for the support system?
It's a support for the patient and the family, and these are often people who don't know. We get calls from the doctors, nurse practitioners, and from the physicians' offices, and from visiting nurses. We don't know what to do about an insurance issue or how to get a medication, and this is what we do. We have this the knowledge and the skills which we've accumulated over years, and we know how to attack the problem, what to do first.
We have a question that came in a little bit ago. It says, how do you convince someone to seek you out when it's clear that they need support?
We tell them that we are the easiest game in town. we tell them that all they have to do is make a telephone call, 914, easy number, 777-2777, and they're usually going to talk to me first. So that's how we usually work.
What if someone is concerned, let's say, for their mother, and their mother won't pick up the phone?
They call me.
Can they call you and have you call the mother?
Yes, we have done that with their permission. We usually ask them to at least tell their mother.
I just use that as an example.
Yeah, and there are times when we get calls from social workers, and they have a patient who may be reluctant, somebody who isn't quite sure what they need, and they'll say they believe they do need us, but would we call? And yes, of course we will call, and we make those calls. Our service area is primarily Westchester, but we always tell people, if it doesn't matter where you live, if you can get to us, we will try to help you. And if it's something we can solve over the phone, it doesn't matter if you live in China, we will try and help you. So,
are there other organizations like yours in other
I've
counties?
looked and I can't find any.
So you're unique.
We are unique.
Absolutely.
What kinds of support do you think that a cancer patient needs from their own family? Because, and their friends. A lot of times you hear so-and-so got this diagnosis and you really don't know what to do as the person on the outside. Is there general advice you would give?
Well, I think some people get scared once the word cancer is uttered and tend to shy away. And so I would recommend staying present and staying involved with that individual who's diagnosed, and staying just a part of their life.
And what if they say, I want privacy?
I think you can respect the privacy, but I wouldn't fade into the background. I would continue to try to maintain the relationship and put an open-ended sort of invite out there for whenever they're ready.
If you need a ride, if you need anything, if you need dinner.
Or if you need to go for a manicure, pedicure, and a friend to go for lunch with. You know, I think sometimes people don't want to be defined by their cancer diagnosis, so they'd like a lot of their relationships to actually stay the same. They might actually have everything they need around the diagnosis under control, but they want to maintain the activities and the relationships they had prior to the diagnosis. And so I think a lot of people feel that they're viewed as different or changed, and they might not want to be.
Okay. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we do think of breast cancer when we think of women. But men can get breast cancer also.
Absolutely.
I assume you provide support for that too.
Of course,
but
yes, of course we do.
Is the support you give for men different than what you would give for women, or do you have to?
It's not. It's not, because men who have cancer have the same issues. They're receiving information that is very difficult to swallow, to adjust to. and they have the same worries that anyone would have. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen, how will I be able to tolerate, what are they going to do to me? How will I be able to tolerate this treatment? Can I keep working? Is my house going to be, gone? Is my income going to be gone? So it's the same for I believe for everybody. I mean, I don't know if you...
Right. I would agree. I think a male with breast cancer probably feels a little bit more outside of the norm.
Yes.
So I really think our individual counseling and support might be even more beneficial because some of the support groups might be geared towards primarily women.
Right.
So I think that one-on-one service is really key for somebody who might not feel that the group dynamic is working for them. But I agree with Lucille. The cancer diagnosis is a shock, and I think there's some universal issues that present.
Right.
Do you advise or have knowledge about alternative treatments that some people promote as helping with cancer, or whether as an alternative or in addition?
I'll just say one general thing, but I think Lucille could answer that in detail. We're very focused on pain management. We're very focused on supportive care, making sure somebody has their nausea under control.
Symptom management, yes.
Symptom management, and making sure that those things are not impairing their ability to function and enjoy their everyday life. That said, when it gets into herbal supplements and things along that line.
Right. We usually refer back to the physician because there are some physicians who will support consistent treatment along with other kinds of alternative therapies. But as a rule, we are concerned that patients not give up consistent treatment in lieu of herbal alternative therapies, because that can put somebody in jeopardy.
I know we touched on nutrition before. One of the things that always comes up, particularly for women, is soy. Is there a position on that?
Well, we don't really take a position on it.
Okay.
Usually when patients ask us, when we have those questions, we refer to our dietitian or we refer back to the physician, because there are some chemotherapies where there may be an impact from too much of anything. So we always make sure that patients discuss issues like that with their physicians, or we refer to the dietitian, our dietitian.
Well, it is very nice to know that there is always a cancer support team there when you need it. And I know you have...
This team you're having an affair, right?
Yes, we're having a luncheon, a Women's Health Awareness Luncheon, which is...
And I've got the invitation right here
excellent.
in my hand, yes.
Let me let you...
Great.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's next Thursday. It's at Westchester Country Club. It's featuring Dr. Port, who's from Mount Sinai and is an expert in breast cancer. She actually just released a book earlier this week, and we're very excited to have her speak, and we're still accepting responses for people who'd like to attend. We still have some availability.
And they should go on your website?
Or just give us a
Or
call
call
directly, and we'll make sure that we have a seat waiting for you.
Okay. Are there ways for people to get involved if they want to help or donate?
Oh, yes. We have many ways in which people can become involved. We do have volunteers who help to transport people to and from treatment, which I hadn't mentioned before.
That's right.
We do have volunteers who help us in our office work, because we do have we have maintained records on our patients.
Volunteers who help provide meals for someone who may not have people around to help them?
We do usually try to connect people to either Meals on Wheels. There is an organization that provides meals specifically for breast cancer patients, frozen meals which are delivered. So we don't have volunteers who actually cook for patients and deliver meals, but we do find ways to get patients what they need. So we certainly do that. We also have volunteers who help with our fundraising events and are on committees.
And this is a not-for-profit.
Absolutely.
And you
We
rely...
give new meaning to the term not-for-profit.
Can we squeeze in another question?
We can squeeze in another question.
Okay. If an undocumented person who does not have insurance...
Call us.
Okay.
We do not
What help
turn
can he
any-
or she get since treatment is very expensive?
Same help we can give to everybody.
Okay. I'm sure that viewer would be happy to hear that.
Yes. Just call us. We have certainly never turned anybody away.
Well, thank you so much, Gina Russo, Lucille Winton, of Cancer Support Team. Contact information is on the screen for everyone. And remember to go pink this month, everyone.
Indeed.
And we'll be right back in a moment with the answer to the trivia question and more community stories.
This week in sports, the Mamaroneck boys soccer team went into overtime against rivals Scarsdale, and Noah Vidal drew a foul in the penalty box to set up a penalty kick for teammate Alex Alma in the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week.
And here we go, folks. Alex Alma will go to the right foot. Carey just basically has to guess right here. The whistle, the shot, and that will do it. Hayden Carey guessed right. He dove right. Alma put it in the right corner. And that is the final result. 2-1, Mamaroneck over Scarsdale.
Celebrations for Larchmont's 125th birthday started last Saturday, September 26th. No one better than Larchmont Mayor herself, Ann McAndrews, to welcome us to their party. Roll it.
Oh, welcome to the Larchmont 125 celebration, the kickoff of our birthday party that's going to last a whole year. We were incorporated in 1891, and if you count backwards, well, this is 124 years, and starting tomorrow we'll be celebrating our 125th anniversary of our incorporation. We're delighted with the turnout and the weather today, and through the efforts of Dee Van Eyck and her wonderful committee and organization, we've been able to organize a fabulous day that put together several different things. It put together the library's big truck day, the annual street fair that we had here anyway, and of course our wonderful annual arts festival. So here we are. It's going to be going on until 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. If you haven't come this year, come next year.
Let's see what's going viral online, and here's the grid.
Hello everybody and welcome to The Grid, where we take a look at what's popular online this week. I'm your host, Christian Sokole. NASA made an incredible announcement on Monday regarding the future of Mars exploration. Turns out there's liquid water on Mars. Now you might be yelling, "We knew there was water on Mars already!" And you'd be correct, but we only knew about frozen water up until now. Apparently, perchlorate, some weird chemical, allows water to stay liquefied, which means that if scientists find life on Mars, it will most likely be near the flow of water. This also enables researchers to eliminate dry areas from trying to find actual life on Mars, as humanity gets ever closer to life beyond Earth. Whether that life is humans or aliens, though, we still have to figure out. But also, the movie Martian is coming out tomorrow. Coincidence? I don't think so. Are you a fan of Obamacare? Well, whether you are or not, you can put facts behind your opinions on 538's article dedicated to Obamacare statistics. It is interesting to challenge your stereotypes. For example, did you know that the largest group of uninsured people is hard to identify? It's not undocumented immigrants, it's not poor folks, it's a mix of people most of whom have jobs. Even most of the uninsured, undocumented immigrants are employed, and 7.7 million young folk ages 19 through 34 are uninsured because they can't afford it or not being offered insurance through their employment. But I'm a legal immigrant, so I can't work or vote, and thus I don't really matter. So check out the statistics and let's move on. In this week's video showcase, we have the supermoon lunar eclipse. If you missed it this past Sunday, the supermoon lunar eclipse man is here to help. Sorry, that's just so much fun to say. Supermoon lunar eclipse? Whoever named this thing deserves a medal. Here's NASA's video explaining what a supermoon lunar eclipse is. Roll the clip.
To understand what this is, first, take a full moon. Now add the closest approach the moon makes to the Earth on its elliptical orbit, which results in it looking up to 14% larger in diameter. That's a supermoon. Now combine this with a lunar eclipse, when the moon passes directly behind the Earth into its shadow, giving it a red tint. Now you have a supermoon lunar eclipse. This is a really special event because it doesn't happen very often.
And that was the show for this week, guys. As always, you've just been uploaded with information from the grid. I'm Christian Sokole. Check out more videos on the Local Live channel on YouTube, and I'll see you next week.
This week, Très Magnifique is in the spotlight. Rebecca Berman has the story.
If you're looking for high-end watches, fashion and estate jewelry, and repairs while you wait, do I have a local Largemont gem for you? We're here today at Très Magnifique Fine Jewelry.
Alex Babayo is the owner of Très Magnifique, and he lets us know what is unique about his store.
One of the best services we provide here is getting your jewelry repaired while you wait and watch in our shop in the back by our jeweler.
Being able to wait while your precious jewels are being fixed is a key ingredient to Très Magnifique's strong relationship with their clientele.
I think we have the best clientele around. We have a great support from the locals. They come in for every special occasion, and sometimes they just come in to chat, and we love it. Our passion is dealing with high-end watches.
Oh, do you mean like this?
Absolutely. That's a date, which I know you have a special occasion coming up.
Yes. Thank you so much for lending this to me.
High-end watches, high-end jewelry, estate jewelry. We also do appraisals for our clients when they need it for an estate.
For more information about Très Magnifique, check out their website at TrésMagnifique.com or stop by and visit. They're located on Chatsworth Avenue. This is Rebecca Berman for the Local Live.
I watch the Local Live so that I can ask questions about my community.
Caller, go ahead.
I watch so I can find out what's going on the go.
Because I catch up at any time, from anywhere, and see any show. Shh!
You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.
Our pet of the week is the shiny silver Marley. She loves to play and is a bit of a goofball. But for more information on Marley or to browse other wonderful pets, you can go to www.ny-petrescue.org.
Thanks for tuning in to the Local Live, and be sure to check out our website. For more information, for more news and community programming, go to www.lmc-tv.org.
And for internships and volunteer opportunities, send your emails to the Local Live at lmctv.org. We love hearing from you. That's the news for this week. I'm Kat Galliano.
And I'm Rebecca Paganini. Tune in next week for another edition of the Local Live.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.